Hello and welcome from wherever and whenever you are. Whether you're curled up in a warm bed in Prague, listening through gentle rain in Oregon, or trying to rest after a long shift in Melbourne, you're here now. You've arrived, and I'm grateful for that. Before we journey together, would you take a moment to share where you're listening from? Maybe your city, the time of night, or how you're feeling. Your words tell me you're out there, that we're not alone in these quiet hours. And if this story helps you drift off gently slowly, please consider leaving a like or subscribing to this channel. It helps us keep whispering the past into your nights. Now close your eyes if you like. Let go of the day behind you. Let your breath soften. We are going far, far back. Beyond pyramids as tourist sites, before sand became just a background. Back to when every stone had meaning, when every carving carried power. To a time when the gods were near, and to carve their names into tomb walls was to touch eternity. The desert is not silent. Not really. It sings with wind low and slow over dunes that never stay still. Beneath that wind lie broken fragments, shards of pottery, flecks of pigment and bones. But deeper still, under the sand and the centuries, rest entire worlds carved into stone. Tombs, temples, stories. You are walking through that desert now, not as a tourist, not as a god, but as a builder, a chiseler of rock, a painter of afterlives. You're young, strong, and sun-warmed. Your hands are cracked with lime and red ochre. Your arms ache from lifting sandstone. But your eyes are sharp. You've seen things inside the tombs that others fear to speak of. You know the gods by name. You've painted their faces. And every night you dream of a serpent curled in the walls, whispering your true name. Your village is hidden by the cliffs tucked between sacred rock and the Nile. Every morning the workers march in silence toward the tombs of kings, each man knowing he is shaping the doorway to immortality, not his own but the pharaoh's. You carve not for money nor glory. You carve because to not carve is death, because this is all you know. But lately, something strange has begun. The stones do not lie right. Tools vanish. One man collapsed with no cause. Another was found talking to walls that hadn't been painted yet. There are whispers that the tomb is watching, that the God inside it does not want to sleep. You want to laugh it off. But at night your dreams grow dark. You see your own name carved among the cursed. You see eyes that should not open. You wake with sand in your mouth. So now as we walk gently into this forgotten time, let the wind carry us past the Nile's bend, past the lotus groves, into the Valley of the Kings. You are not just hearing history, you are stepping into it. Into stone corridors where light flickers like breath. Into rooms sealed with curses, into a story that was meant to stay buried. Welcome to the curse of the tomb builder. The morning air in the desert is not hot. Not yet. It's cool, almost gentle, like the last breath of the night refusing to leave. You step out of your small stone house, its doorway low and narrow, built from the same ochre rock that stains your palms. Your sandals, made of plaited papyrus, whisper softly on the ground. But you don't wear them today. You like to feel the earth. The path is dusty and familiar, winding past other quiet houses where other workers like you are also rising. No one speaks. No one needs to. Every breath you take tastes like limestone dust and dew. Above you, the cliffs of Thebes glow with the pale gold of sunrise. They are ancient even now. You know every crease in their surface, every shadow they throw across the valley. You've walked this way so many mornings that the rhythm of it lives in your bones. Step, breathe. Step, breathe. Carry the tools on your back. Carry your thoughts in silence. The Valley of the Kings waits ahead, hidden from the world beyond by its own stillness. You can't see it yet, not from here, but you feel its pull, like something breathing just under the earth, waiting. Always waiting. A flock of birds lifts from a thorny tree beside the path. Their wings are sharp white against the dawn. You watch them go, eyes half closed. Somewhere behind you a child cries once and falls silent. The world is waking up slowly, and you are already halfway between night and work. As you reach the edge of the village, your fingers tighten around the strap of your satchel. Inside are the same things you carry every day: a small chisel, a brush made from goat hair, a jar of red pigment, a linen cloth, and a stone palette worn smooth by years of mixing color. These are not tools of war or power, but they shape eternity in their quiet way. They mark the walls that will hold a king's soul. You think of him sometimes, the king whose name you don't speak yet, whose face you've only seen in sketches and imagined in gold. He is still alive, they say, but his tomb is already half built. That's how it always is. You build for a dead man who still breathes. And when he no longer does, the tomb must be ready to receive him. Perfect, complete, silent. Your feet reach the split in the path, the place where the old fig tree used to stand before it withered. You pass it without thinking. To the right the path leads toward the guard post. Men with shaved heads and spears will nod as you go by, not out of kindness, but routine. To the left a narrow trail winds up into the cliffs. You take it today. It's the shortcut one your father once used when he was still strong. It's steeper but quieter, and today you want quiet. The climb is slow. Your calves burn a little. A thin breeze moves along the rocks, bringing with it the scent of dust, dry grass, and something sweet. Perhaps the bloom of a lone desert flower somewhere out of sight. You pause at a bend, placing one hand against the stone for balance. The stone is warm already, even this early. The warmth feels alive, as if the cliff itself remembers every hand that has ever touched it. When you reach the top of the ridge, the world below unfolds like a scroll. The valley is vast and hushed. Below, the tomb entrances lie like open mouths in the rock, their lintels marked with carved eyes, scarabs, ankhs. Some are finished, some are abandoned. Others are still gaping wounds in the cliff, waiting to be filled, smoothed, sealed. Your tomb, the one you work on, is halfway carved. You know its cracks, its shadows. You know where the sun falls on its floor at noon. You know the way the echoes change when the wall is wet with paint. You descend again slowly, the wind pressing gently at your back. Another worker joins you from another path. He nods, you nod. His face is lined, his mouth drawn tight. You do not speak. There are no morning greetings here. Words are for the end of the day, not the beginning. At the entrance to the tomb, the supervisor waits. His robe is white and already dusty. He squints at the sky, then at the list of names on a cracked piece of wood in his hand. You see your name, just the outline of the glyphs. Familiar curves, your name written in the old way. He waves you inside. The stone groans as you step past the threshold. Inside, the light changes. It dims. The world outside fades into a narrow line of brightness behind you. Your bare feet touch the cool, polished floor of the tomb corridor. The air here is heavy, not just with dust, but with something older. The smell of pigment and old oils of clay lamps long burned out. You breathe it in. You do not hurry. Your hand reaches out to the wall, brushing against the line of unfinished figures. Gods in mid-stride, stars half-born, the edge of a boat that has yet to sail. You know where you left off yesterday. You know which chisel stroke went too deep, which line needs softening. The stone remembers your hands, and you remember its breath, how it hums beneath the surface if you listen closely enough. Farther inside, someone is already hammering. The sound is distant, wrapped in echo like rain falling in a dream. You unpack your tools in silence, lay them out as always, kneel, touch the wall, and then just before you begin, you pause. Because today something feels different. You can't name it, can't see it, but it's there like a weight behind your eyes, a tightness in the chest, a whisper with no words. You pick up the brush anyway, dip it in red, raise it to the wall. But as you draw the first line, the pigment doesn't stick. It slides, then vanishes, absorbed by the stone like water into sand. You blink, and for a heartbeat, just one, the figure on the wall, a god with jackal head and golden collar, seems to move. Just a flicker, just a breath, then stillness. You wait, you listen. But the tomb holds its silence. You dip the brush again, and begin. You don't speak of what you saw, or thought you saw. It clings to your skin like the fine dust in your nostrils, but you push it aside. You dip the brush again, this time slower. Watch the bristles bloom with red. You touch the wall. The pigment holds. The line you draw is clean. A curve of a god's eye, a line of divine breath. You steady your hand. You tell yourself it was nothing, a shadow, a trick of your own fatigue. It happens. Tombs play games with the mind, especially when you've slept little. Around you, the tomb breathes in silence. A lamp burns in the corner, its flame dancing like a memory you can't quite grasp. The walls seem to pull in close, not threatening, but watching, listening. Somewhere behind you, another worker coughs, a short, dry sound that echoes like footsteps in a forgotten corridor. You glance over your shoulder, but the hallway is empty, just tools and figures in the stone. No one else. Still, the work goes on. That is the rule. No matter what you think you feel, no matter what you see or hear, the carving continues. The gods do not wait. Your strokes become more fluid now. You lose yourself in the motion. The scent of the red pigment sharpens in your nostrils, earthy, almost metallic. It smells of crushed rock and old blood. It reminds you of a market in Waset long ago when you were still a child and your mother bought you a clay amulet painted the same color. You wore it until the string broke. You buried it under a tree. You don't remember why. Time slips around you. There are no windows here, no sense of sun or moon. Only the drip of a water jar, the scrape of stone, the shift of fabric as someone kneels behind you to unpack more tools. You don't turn. You know the presence. It's Neba, the quiet one. He never speaks more than a few words, but his carving is perfect. Too perfect, some say. As if the gods guided his hand. As if he knew what was meant to be painted before it was drawn. He settles beside you. Says nothing. Begins to chip gently at the lower panel, a procession of priests offering incense to Osiris. You glance once at his face. His eyes are hollow today. Not tired. Hollow. Like something left them overnight. You want to ask him something. Anything. Did he see the flicker? Has he felt it too? But the silence between you is too deep to cross, and the tomb does not welcome words. Later you stretch your arms, aching from crouching so long. You stand slowly, your knees cracking, and step back from the wall. What you see takes your breath. The god's eyes. The ones you painted earlier. They are not looking straight ahead as before. They are looking at you. You don't scream. You don't move. You just stand there, breath caught, until a fly buzzes past your ear and the spell breaks. You blink. The eyes are normal again. Still, unmoving. You rub your forehead, suddenly clammy. Maybe you're just exhausted. Maybe the pigment is playing tricks. Maybe this whole tomb has been breathing in strange air since the last storm. You turn away and walk toward the rear of the chamber, needing distance. The corridor narrows there, carved deeper into the mountain. It's where the walls are still rough, untouched by paint, waiting for future workers to bring them to life. There's something catches your eye. A mark on the stone. It's not part of the plan, not part of any glyph or sketch you know, just a single handprint smeared in what looks like dried red pigment. Or blood. It's small, too small for any of the workers you know. You reach out, almost without thinking, and press your palm beside it. The stone is cool. The print doesn't match yours. You draw your hand back. Behind you, Neba stops carving. I didn't make that, he says softly. His voice is rough, unused. You turn. He's staring at the wall now, at your painting, the god's eye. You see it too, you ask. He nods. Slowly, it moves at night. The words hang in the air like smoke. You wait for more, but he says nothing else. Just picks up his chisel and walks away deeper into the dark. Not toward the exit. Toward the heart of the tomb. You watch him go. A part of you wants to follow. A deeper part tells you not to. You remain still until the light from your lamp grows long and thin across the floor, as if the tomb itself is stretching toward evening. Finally, the call to end the day echoes from the tunnel mouth, a long, drawn-out note on a hollow reed pipe. One blast, then two. Work is over. You pack your tools slowly, carefully. The brush still smells of pigment. The cloth is stained. Your fingers are sore. You do not look at the god's face again. As you leave, the sun slices across the valley in bands of gold and shadow. Other workers stream down the paths, their robes catching the wind like sails. Some laugh, some hum. Most are quiet. You reach the village just as the last light disappears behind the cliffs. The houses are lit with small lamps. Children run between doorways. A woman stirs a pot of lentils, its scent rich and sharp in the air. You pass her without a word. At your home, you light a single flame. Sit cross-legged on the mat. Rub your eyes. The silence inside you is heavier now. You lie down and dream again. Only this time you are not walking through the tomb. You are lying in it, not buried. Just watching, waiting. From behind the painted eyes, the morning tastes of ash. You wake before the sun the way you always do, but something feels wrong. The air is sharp, biting. Not cold. The desert rarely gives you that kindness, but edged. You sit up slowly, rubbing the back of your neck, and notice it immediately. Smoke, not fire, not danger, just the scent, the leftover breath of something burned in the night. You step outside and the smell clings to you, curls into the folds of your tunic, presses into your throat. It's not thick, but it's there, faint like a memory, and just as unsettling. You scan the village. All is quiet. The houses are still, the sky still ink dark with only a hint of rose at the edges. A dog yawns near the well. A woman sweeps her doorstep, moving like a ghost. You follow the path up again. The same dust beneath your feet, the same wind stroking your face, but now your breath feels shorter. Each step seems to echo longer than it should, as if the stones are warning you, or remembering. You think of the dream, no, not dream, something else from last night. Lying inside the tomb, unmoving, your eyes painted onto the wall, watching, trapped. a silence too complete to be natural. You'd woken with sand in your mouth, though your mat was clean. You'd touched your lips, confused as if they might still be sealed. Now you walk faster, heart pressing gently against your ribs. When you reach the tomb entrance, you know something has changed. There are no tools lying in the alcove, no idle chatter from other workers, no scrape of stone on stone, only the hollow hush of the wind sweeping through the opening. You step inside. The cool air greets you like a familiar hand. The lamp you left still hangs in place, its oil burned out, the wick curled like a dead insect. You relight it, shielding the flame with your fingers, and walk deeper. The tomb is not empty. Near the back wall, where the figures of the gods bend in silent procession, someone is kneeling. You recognize the shape, Neba. His shoulders are hunched, his head low. He's whispering something. Not words exactly, just a sound, a rhythm, like a prayer said backward or a song hummed without melody. You approach slowly, careful not to startle him. He does not move. His hands are pressed flat against the wall, not working, just resting there, as if feeling for something beneath the stone. You kneel beside him. Neba, you whisper. No response. His breath is shallow, eyes open but distant. You follow his gaze and feel your throat tighten. He is staring at the same god's face, the one you painted. The eyes are different. You tell yourself they're not, that it's just the angle, the flicker of the lamp. But you know better. The pupils are narrower, sharper. The lines you remember drawing soft and reverent now seem etched with fury, like something angry behind them has pressed forward. Neba, you try again. This time he speaks, barely. It's awake. You don't know what he means. Not fully, but you feel it. The pressure in the room, the weight behind your eyes, the strange pull in your chest, like your heartbeat is no longer your own. You stand. He stays there unmoving, whispering to the wall. You don't remember walking out, only the sudden burst of sunlight on your face as you stumble into the day. You lean against the rock outside the tomb, blinking, breathing. Behind you the tomb waits, silent, sealed in shadow. The others arrive slowly. They nod at you, ask where Neba is. You don't answer. One of them laughs, another shrugs. Work must go on. But today it doesn't. By midday the supervisor is pacing. 2 workers report missing tools. Another says the pigment jars have gone cloudy, unusable. When someone tries to chip a new panel, the stone splits in the wrong direction, as if rejecting the chisel. The echoes in the tomb grow strange, too loud in some corners, completely absent in others. At one point, a young worker, barely more than a boy, runs out of the tomb shaking, says he saw something crawl across the ceiling. Not a snake, not a lizard, something else. No one believes him, but no one laughs either. By sunset, work is called off. Early, that never happens. You return home in silence. That night, the village feels colder than usual. The lamps don't burn as brightly. No one sings. No one drinks beer or tells jokes by the well. You sit outside your doorway, staring up at the stars. You count them one by one, the way your father taught you. He used to say there were always 23 you could see clearly, and the rest belonged to the gods. You count 22, then stop. Your fingers ache. When you look down, you realize you've been drawing in the dust beside you. A face. The same face. Over and over. The same eyes. You wipe it away quickly. Sleep does not come easily. When it does, it takes you back to the tomb. This time you are inside the wall, not behind it, inside. And you are not alone. You feel others beside you, not living, not dead, just waiting. Their names are carved in places no one sees. Their breaths fill the cracks between stone blocks. You feel them like water beneath your skin. And in the center of it all, the eye watches, not painted, alive, watching you. You wake to knocking. Not loud, not hurried, just steady. A knuckle against stone, once, then twice, then again. You sit up, heart stuttering. It's still dark. The stars are faint now, and the first hint of purple is crawling along the sky's edge. Dawn is coming, but not fast enough to comfort you. You wait. The knocking comes again. You rise, step to the door, and open it slowly. No one is there. Only the wind tugging gently at your tunic. Only the dust curling in lazy loops. You step outside, eyes searching. Then you see it. A smear of red across your doorstep. Not fresh. Dried, but still red, like pigment. You crouch and touch it. It flakes like paint, smells like iron. You do not speak. No one would listen. Instead you walk. Up the same path, through the same morning. But this time your feet drag slightly. Your shoulders hunch. You feel the eyes of the cliffs on you. The sun is rising behind the ridge, but the light seems slower than usual, reluctant to fill the valley. When you reach the tomb, the others are already gathered, but no one goes inside. They're whispering. One man stands with his arms crossed tightly, as if holding himself together. Another paces in short, sharp steps. The supervisor is there too, face drawn, eyes heavy with something beyond sleep. You approach. What happened, you ask. The supervisor looks at you. His mouth opens, then closes. He steps aside. That's when you see it. A smear of pigment, deep red, bright, almost wet, trails from the mouth of the tomb down the rock face. It curves like a serpent, splitting and rejoining like veins in the stone. You step forward, but the supervisor blocks you gently. Not today, he says. You look past him. Neighbor is not among the group. Your mouth dries. Where is he? No one answers. The youngest of the workers, the boy who claimed he saw something crawl along the ceiling, speaks up. I heard chanting last night, he says. From the tomb. They all look at him. It wasn't words, he adds more quietly. Just sounds. The supervisor clears his throat. We'll wait. Perhaps the priests will come. Or someone from Waset. But they won't. You know that. The valley is far. The tomb is far. And those who know of curses do not come close. They wait, as they always have, for the sand to cover it all. You leave the group, not out of fear, out of knowing. The path that winds past the tomb leads to a high ridge. Few walk it, it's steep and exposed to the sun. But you do. You need the height, the air, something other than the weight pressing into your chest. From above, the valley stretches wide and golden, though the light feels cold. The tombs below look small now, quiet, the kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. You sit. The stone is warm. You remember sitting like this once as a child, watching your father carve the face of a goddess. He'd moved with such care, whispering as he worked. You thought he was praying. Later he told you he was apologizing. The gods don't always want to be seen, he'd said. So we must ask forgiveness for the seeing. You hadn't understood. Now you do. When you return to the village at dusk, the air feels heavy. No one speaks. Lamps are lit early. Doors close quickly. You enter your house and sit on the mat. The pigment jar is still there, the red dust clinging to the rim like dried blood. You pick it up, tilt it. Inside, something shifts. You pour a little into your palm. It's not pigment. Not entirely. There's something small and hard inside. You fish it out carefully. It's a fragment of carved stone, smooth, curved, just enough to make out part of an eye. You drop it. It hits the floor with a sound far too loud for its size. You leave it there. That night sleep refuses you. You lie down, turn, rise, sit, breathe, lie down again. Eventually your body pulls you under. In your dream, you are walking through the tomb, but the walls are no longer stone. They are skin, soft, warm, breathing. The paintings move. The gods step out of their frames. They do not speak. They only watch. In the center of the tomb, Neba kneels. But he is no longer whole. His mouth is stitched with golden thread. His eyes are painted on. His skin cracked like drying clay. He raises a finger to his lips. Shh! You wake with a gasp. It is still dark. The stone floor beneath your feet is cold. You step outside. The stars above are bright and sharp, and the moon hangs low like a half-closed eye. At your doorstep, the smear of pigment is gone, but in its place is a symbol, a single glyph drawn in dust. An eye, open, watching. You do not go back to sleep. Not that night. Not for many nights. The next morning you don't speak. Your voice feels buried somewhere beneath your ribs, as if words would disturb something that must stay sleeping. You wash your face in silence. The water is cold, clearer than usual, as if the gods have rinsed the dust from the well. But the cold does nothing to wake you. You wrap your shawl around your shoulders. The fabric feels heavier than it should. Outside, the sky is a dull gray instead of the usual soft orange. Clouds drift low like smoke that has forgotten how to rise. The sun, if it is up at all, refuses to touch the earth. You walk. The path to the tomb is quiet. Too quiet. There are no birds, no donkeys braying in the distance, no children running late. Just your footsteps and the wind. When you reach the cliffside, there are fewer men than usual. Some are missing. Others keep their heads low. No one says your name. You notice new carvings near the tomb entrance, not from your hand, nor from any plan. Symbols etched in haste. Eyes, loops, repeated curves, protection signs, or warnings. You can't tell. Someone has laid a strip of linen across the entrance, an old funerary cloth. It flaps once in the breeze, then falls still. You do not step over it. You wait. The supervisor appears, his face more lined than before. He does not carry his usual scroll. No attendance today. He approaches you slowly. His voice is low. They want to seal it, he says. You nod, though your stomach tightens. He continues, the priests from the river temple. They say it is not fit for the living anymore. You look past him into the darkness of the tomb. You think of the unfinished walls, the names unpainted, the gods half blind, the stories incomplete. Will they burn it, you ask? He shakes his head. No, just stone. A wall to block the mouth. Before the king dies. He hesitates. then they believe it's already claimed. Claimed. You don't ask what that means. You already know. That night you sit by the fire pit behind your house. The coals are weak. The wind carries away their warmth before it reaches your skin. You stare into the embers, hoping to see something human in their glow. But all you see is dust. From the corner of your vision you notice a figure. Across the yard near the line of old palm trees, someone stands watching. You turn slowly. It's not a person. It's a painting. A god. Painted on the wall of your house. Where there was once bare stone, there is now a figure tall, crowned, jackal-headed. Black pigment. Clean lines. Eyes wide and knowing. You rise, walk toward it. The paint is fresh. Your fingers brush it. Still wet. You don't remember painting it, but your hands smell of pigment. Your dreams that night are fevered. You walk through rooms you do not recognize. The walls are covered in red text curses, names, instructions, each one in your own hand. You hear voices speaking backward. Water runs up the walls. At the center of the largest chamber, a throne sits empty. Behind it, Nebo waits, his mouth open but silent. He is holding your chisel. You reach for it, but your fingers pass through. He smiles. You wake. Your fingers are clenched. There is something in your palm. You open it slowly. A piece of black stone, curved, polished, like the edge of an eye. You drop it. It does not hit the ground. It simply vanishes. The next day no one works. The path to the tomb is blocked with stones. A priest from the city chants at the threshold, shaking a bundle of reeds that snap in the dry wind. You watch from a distance. He never steps inside. The linen cloth remains. So do the carvings, but the air feels heavier now, as if something inside is pressing outward. You walk away, not far, just to the ridge, the high path. You sit where you always have. Below the tombs wait. The valley stretches like an open scroll, but no one dares read it. A small wind brushes past your ear. You hear your name, not spoken, whispered. From the rock, you stand, slowly, turn to the cliff behind you. They're barely visible as a line of paint. Red, a symbol, one you never carved, but it is your style, your stroke, your hand, a name, your name, written in the glyphs of the dead, and beneath it another line, 3 small signs. The phrase is simple, he belongs to us. You do not touch it, you do not breathe. The stone feels alive beneath your feet. You step back, the wind dies, the name remains. You return to the village. You do not sleep that night. You sit by the lamp until the oil runs dry. You stare into the darkness. And wait, because now you understand. The tomb was never cursed. It was never haunted. It was hungry, and it chose you. You begin waking at the same time each night. Not just from dreams, not anymore. You wake at the exact moment the lamp goes out. The wick dies, the darkness thickens, and you're there, wide-eyed, breath held as if you've been called. Not by sound, not by name, but by agreement. It feels like a pact made without speaking. A contract you don't remember signing, sealed not in ink, but in silence. Each morning you leave earlier than the others. The sun hasn't even lifted its eye above the cliffs. The sky remains violet, reluctant to become day. You no longer follow the path to the tomb. That trail is cold now, quiet in a different way. Instead you walk the ridge, to the cliff, to your name. It's still there, carved in the red no one else seems to see. Sometimes you find it changed. One morning a second name is added, another morning it's gone. Another it's crossed out with a line of black ash. But your name always returns. Yesterday someone left an offering, a bowl of dates, a feather, a carved bead. You don't touch them. They are not for you. They are to protect others from you. The village doesn't look at you anymore. You walk through the market and space opens around you like water. Children are pulled away gently. Faces turn. Mouths move in quiet prayers. Even your mother's old friend, the one who used to bring you figs, now leaves them on a stone near your door instead of knocking. You are becoming something they cannot name, and they are right to fear you. But the fear no longer stings. It fits, because you are changing. Your dreams no longer scare you. They guide you. You see corridors you've never carved, symbols you've never drawn. You wake with lines of verse in your mouth, and when you whisper them, the walls of your house seem to tremble, just slightly, as if listening. You don't know if the gods are speaking to you, or through you, but you write what they give you, on clay, on stone, on the walls of your home, on your skin, always in red. One evening, as you stand at the ridge watching the last light sink behind the tombs, you feel a hand on your shoulder. You turn. It's the boy. The one who saw the thing on the ceiling, the one no one believed. His eyes are wide, but not afraid. He holds out a small piece of linen, rolled, tied with reed. You take it. He says nothing, just turns and runs back down the path. You wait until he is gone. Then you open it. Inside is a single drawing, crude but clear. It is you, kneeling, inside the tomb, alone. Around you are not gods, but shadows. Dozens. Their hands on your shoulders, on your head, over your mouth. And in the center of your chest a hollow circle. Empty. You fold the cloth slowly, carefully. That night you place it beneath your mat, and you sleep soundly. For the first time in weeks, you dream of stone. But this time it breathes with you. When you wake, your fingers are curled in a fist. Inside them dust. Black, not like soot, like ash from a fire that should never have burned. You go outside. The sky is full of crows. You count them, 9. They do not fly. They circle. Silently. You do not go to the tomb. You go to the cliffs, to the place where your name waits. But it is gone. In its place a new carving. An eye. Open. Inside the pupil your face. Smiling. You step closer. Run your hand over the grooves. The stone is warm, and beneath it a vibration. Soft. Like a drum beat. Like a heart. You press your ear to the wall, and for the first time, you hear the tomb breathing. Not the wind. Not memory. Breath. Slow. Ancient. Yours. You step back. The ridge feels higher than before. The valley stretches below, bathed in soft gold. The light touches nothing. It only watches. You stand there a long time, and then slowly begin to hum. The same melody from your dreams. The one Neba whispered before he disappeared. The one the walls echo now, even when you're silent. It rises in your throat without effort, without fear. And as it fades, you know, you do not belong to the village. You do not belong to the workers. You belong to the stone, to the dust, to the names no longer spoken. And they belong to you. The days begin to blur. You forget what morning is supposed to feel like. There's still sun, still sky, still the shifting calls of distant birds. But none of it reaches you. Time passes the way wind moves over ancient stone, slow, soft, and without memory. You eat less, speak even less, and yet you feel more alive than ever. Not the kind of life tied to food or laughter or breath. The other kind. The kind that roots itself beneath the ribs and grows upward, pushing through skin like a sprout in desert clay. The village no longer speaks your name, but you still hear it, in the scraping of sandals over stone, in the crack of old wood in the night, in the silence between reed flute songs, that long breath before the next note. It's always there, and sometimes when you look toward the cliffs you see movement that no one else sees. Shapes too fluid for shadow, too slow for birds. They linger near the sealed tombs, waiting without impatience. Familiar. Watching. One evening the sky turns the color of rust. The horizon bleeds into the sand. You walk without direction, your feet knowing the way better than your eyes. You find yourself back at the wall. Not the tomb, not your name. The wall behind your house, the one that had once been blank. Now it tells stories. Lines of pigment curve across it in a language you do not remember learning but understand with perfect clarity. They are not your hands yet. They are your strokes. A man kneeling. A god descending. A heart weighed, but not against a feather, against silence. Beneath it all an eye, that symbol again. But this time it is closed. You do not know if that comforts you or not. Later that night someone knocks at your door. A sound you had forgotten. You hesitate. The lamp is low. The house is still. The knocking comes again. You open the door. It's the supervisor. Older than you remember. Thinner. He looks like a figure carved too shallow into stone, still visible but fading. He doesn't ask to come in. He doesn't need to. You step aside and he enters. He sits on the edge of the mat like a guest in a house that no longer belongs to this world. He holds something wrapped in linen. You sit across from him waiting. He speaks without looking at you. They want to bury the tomb. You blink. Not just seal it, he continues. Not just forget it. They want to collapse it, fill it with stone, sand, anything. Bury it so deep it will never speak again. You feel something rise in your chest. Not anger. Grief. He holds out the linen bundle. You take it. Inside a carving. Wood. Smooth. It's the panel you never finished. The procession of priests. Only now, their faces are yours. Dozens of you. Each holding a different offering. Each with the same eyes. He whispers, "We can't stop it, but maybe we can honor it." You nod. He leaves. You do not follow. You spend the night staring at the carving. Not because it frightens you. Because it feels like a memory. You place it beside your bed. The dreams return. Not like before. These are calm. Still. You sit beside a river. The reeds sway gently. Across from you the gods watch. They do not move. They do not judge. They wait. One of them steps forward. Their face shifts. Becomes your father's. Then your own. Then no one's. They reach out, touch your chest, and say only one word. Remember. You wake with a word on your lips. One you've never spoken. But it feels like home. You whisper it. The walls whisper back. At dawn you walk to the edge of the village. The wind is warm. The sky holds the promise of heat, but not yet. The earth is soft underfoot. You do not go to the tomb. You go past it. Beyond the cliffs. To the place where stone breaks into desert. Where no one builds. Where no names are carved. There you kneel. And you begin to dig. Not with tools. With your hands. The sand yields slowly. Your fingers bleed. But you do not stop. By midday you uncover something, a piece of stone, curved, familiar, not a tomb, a doorway, half buried, waiting. You brush away the dust. The markings on it shimmer faintly. They are not warnings, they are invitations. You place your hand on the stone. It fits perfectly. You close your eyes. The ground hums, softly, as if the earth is breathing with you. You do not go inside, not yet. You return home. That night you light no lamp. You sit in the dark, listening, to wind, to stone, to yourself. You no longer fear the tomb, because the tomb is not a place. It is a memory, a song, a name whispered into stone, and it is calling you home. The next morning you do not wake. You rise, effortless, like water finding its level, like breath slipping back into lungs after a long pause. There is no grogginess, no weight, no in-between. You are simply there. The sun has not crested yet. The village is still hushed beneath layers of thin smoke and woven dreams. Lamps flicker inside quiet homes. Somewhere a clay pot cracks under the weight of its own stillness. You do not eat, you do not wash. You wrap your shawl around your shoulders, not for warmth but for memory, and step into the slow wind that curls around the edges of stone and time. The sky is soft gray, no birds, no children's voices, only you and the path, and the sand that remembers every step you've ever taken. Your feet carry you not to the tomb, not to the wall, but to the place you unearthed yesterday. The doorway, still half buried, still humming in a language only your bones seem to understand. The air around it is cooler, denser. It smells of copper, and something older than rot. A scent without name, the kind that clings to the inside of memory. You kneel again. The sand is easier today. It moves aside like it was always meant to. You clear the rest of the doorway with care. It is not large, just tall enough for you to pass through hunched. You touch the symbols again, not carved, grown. As if the stone had birthed them. They twist and curve, weaving around one another like vines in a forgotten garden. Your name is there, not written, not drawn, felt. You press your hand into the center. The stone sighs and opens. No sound, no flash, just release. The air that spills out is cool, dry, still. You duck inside. The passage is narrow. Your shoulders brush each side. The walls are smooth, too smooth for tools. No torch burns here, but you can see not with light but with knowing. The space glows gently like starlight beneath skin. Each step feels familiar, as if you've walked this path in dreams, or before dreams were born. The corridor curves, and then opens. A chamber, round, silent, empty, but not. At its center, a basin of black stone. Within it, a single flame. It does not flicker. It simply exists. Around the walls, murals. Not gods, not pharaohs, not kings. You. Over and over. A child, a worker, a painter, a figure kneeling before shadow. A figure becoming the shadow. Each painted version of you has eyes closed, except one. Near the basin, it watches you, smiling. You step closer to the flame. It does not burn. It hums. The same hum as the walls. The same hum as your breath. You kneel, not out of reverence, out of remembrance. You reach toward the basin. Your fingers hover over the flame. It warms your skin, then cools it, then stills. You dip your fingers in. There is no pain, only quiet. Only a whisper not heard but understood. Return. You press your hand to your chest. It beats once, twice, and then slows. You exhale, and the flame answers. It flutters and folds into your palm. Gone, but you still feel it inside you. You rise, turn, and see the chamber as it truly is. Not stone, not paint, memory. Layer upon layer, your life carved and sung and buried beneath centuries. You were not cursed. You were chosen. And the tomb, your tomb, was never for someone else. It was always waiting for you. You walk back through the corridor. This time the walls breathe. They murmur your name not in warning but in welcome. You step outside. The world has shifted. The sky is pale. The sun finally rising. But it does not blind you. You see clearly now. The village in the distance. The tomb sealed with stone. The cliffs that watch without judgment. You walk. Past the tomb. Past the ridge. Past the walls that once knew your touch. No one sees you. Not because you're hidden. Because they no longer remember how to look. You pass the market. No one speaks. You pass the well. Its waters ripple once. You pass your house. The door is open. Inside the mat is empty. The walls are blank. No pigment, no carving. As if nothing had ever happened. You smile. Because everything has a... That night you do not sleep. You lie on the earth beneath the stars. The flame in your chest steady. You listen. And the tomb listens back. The next day the village stirs without you. Women sweep courtyards. Boys chase a paper ball through narrow alleys. The baker lights his oven before the sun fully crests the eastern ridge. Dust hangs in the air, golden in the half-light, catching in wrinkles and hair. They do not speak of you, not because they've forgotten, Because forgetting is safer than remembering. You watch them from the far edge of the slope, where the sand begins to harden into stone. You're not hiding. You no longer need to. The line between you and them has blurred, become thin and silent, like the gap between dreams and waking. You feel no anger, no loss, only distance. The kind that grows not from cruelty, but from becoming something else, someone else. Behind you the hills whisper. The tomb, not the sealed one below, but the one you unearthed, pulses softly beneath your feet. Not with sound, with memory. The stone remembers your steps, your breath, your silence, and it gives something in return. Vision. Each time you close your eyes now, you see clearer than before. You see Neba walking barefoot along the ridges. You see him pause, kneel, press his ear to the stone. He is listening, but not to the tomb, to you. You see the boy, the one with the drawing. He hides beneath his mother's robe during storms, but when she sleeps, he sketches in the dust new things now. You, a hand reaching through walls, an eye shedding tears of flame. You see the supervisor sitting alone, his hands shaking. He holds your carving, the one with the procession. He doesn't weep, he just breathes, and breathes, and breathes. And still you do not return. You walk the ridge instead, the high places, where the wind forgets its name and the gods come closer. Today the sky is overcast, unusual. The clouds are thick and low, pressed against the hills like a blanket trying to hush the earth. The light feels old, faded. You pause at a small ledge. There, nestled among loose rocks and scrub, is something new. A doll, made of cloth and twine, crude but lovingly shaped. Its face is painted, your face. You kneel, touch it gently. There is no fear in its eyes, only stillness. You sit beside it and look out over the valley. From here the tombs resemble mouths, half-spoken prayers caught in stone. The people below are ants with burdens, moving, moving, always moving. But not you. You are the space between movements. You are stillness. That night you lie down beside the doll, not to sleep, to remember. And when your eyes close, the world shifts again. You are inside the tomb, not the one you entered before. A deeper one. Older. It has no doors, no corridors, only a vast open room with no ceiling. The stars above are close, too close, and they blink like eyes adjusting to your presence. The walls are covered in carvings, each one of your face, your hands, your breath, your thoughts, your forgetting. You reach out and touch the nearest image. It sighs, not with air, with release. The room changes. Now you are surrounded by figures, not gods, not people, not quite. They are cloaked in dust and shadow eyes aglow like coals under ash. They circle you. You do not flinch. They lean closer, their mouths open, and for the first time they speak, but not in words, in feeling. You feel grief and hunger and longing. You feel the ache of stone waiting to be named. You feel the joy of pigment drying on sacred walls. You feel the silence between one heartbeat and the next. And in all of it you feel yourself. They do not ask questions. They do not demand. They only wait. And when you finally open your mouth, what leaves you is not a name. It is the flame. The one you swallowed. It lifts from your chest, slow and soft, rising to the sky above. It floats past the watching stars. And one by one the figures begin to hum. Low, mournful, beautiful. Their voices shake the dust from the walls. Your image begins to blur, to fade, not in erasure, in completion. You wake before the final note ends. The sky outside is clear now, the clouds gone. The doll beside you is warm. You hold it, and for the first time in many nights you smile. Not for joy, for knowing that the tombs never wanted worship. They wanted witness, and now they have one. You don't return to the village anymore. Not with your feet, but you walk through it in other ways, in the sound of the clay oven cracking in the heat, in the hush that falls when someone glances too long at the cliffs, in the dreams of children who wake with dust on their fingertips and half-remembered songs in their mouths. You have become part of the breath between moments, the stillness in stone. And the stone remembers. Each day you rise without hunger. You walk the high paths with bare feet. The sand greets you like a friend who always knew you'd return. There is no fear now, only remembering and recording. Your fingers no longer itch for pigment. Instead, they move over the rocks, tracing lines that are not drawings but invitations. The tomb beneath the earth, the one that opened itself to you, has grown, not in size but in voice. You feel it when the wind shifts, when the birds do not sing, when the stars gather more tightly in the sky. It calls, not with words, with resonance. You answer with silence. That is enough. One afternoon, while you sit on the slope watching the sun drop behind the far dunes, you sense movement beside you. You turn. It's the boy, older now, or perhaps it is only his eyes that have aged. He sits cross-legged without asking, holding a thin piece of slate. Drawings cover it. Simple, childlike, and yet deeply known. A figure you walking into a tomb. Another the same walking out with light in their hands. He doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. You nod once. He nods back. He leaves the slate beside you, then disappears down the ridge like a shadow returning home. You trace the figures with your fingertip. The stone hums beneath your hand. You close your eyes, and the tomb answers. It shows you a chamber you've never seen, one beneath all others, lit not by flame but by memory, carved from darkness itself. At its center a circle. Inside the circle water, still, black, perfect, a reflection pool, but not of faces, of time. You open your eyes. The ridge is quiet. You take the slate and begin to walk, not to the sealed tombs, not to the village, to the place the earth has hidden, the place it kept just for you. You reach the slope where rock meets sand, where your name had once been carved and erased and carved again. Now nothing marks the stone, but you know where to press. You kneel. Lay your hand against the earth. Wait! The breath comes. Not yours. Not the wind's. The tomb's. And the stone slides open once more. You enter. The passage is the same, but deeper. The turn sharper. The air more dense. The chamber greets you like an old friend. The basin still stands. Empty now. Its flame returned to you. But this time another corridor waits. New, formed from memory. You walk into it. The walls here are softer, smoother, not made of stone, but thought. And they hold images as fragile as dreams. You reach the end. The new chamber. Round, low ceiling, a quiet pulse in the center. There the pool. Just as you saw. You kneel beside it. Peer into its surface. You see nothing. At first. Then, your hands. Working. Your mouth. Singing. Your breath. Slow and even. But it is not now. It is then. And before then, you see your first wall. The first stroke of pigment. The way your heart beat too fast, your fingers trembling, your mouth dry with awe. You see your father, his eyes smiling but sad. You see your mother, braiding your hair, placing a small stone in your palm. You are of the earth, she says, but you remember the stars. You see Neba, his back turned, but not in anger, in protection. He shields you with silence. You see the supervisor, alone in the dark, whispering your name not in fear, in prayer. You see the boy, drawing with a stick in the dust, shapes that do not exist yet, but will. And then you see yourself. Now, not older, not younger, just fuller, complete, whole. You breathe, and the pool ripples softly. The tomb accepts you, not as prisoner, not as servant, as memory. You rise, place your hand over your heart, feel the flame, steady, warm, true. You whisper a word you have never spoken, and the tomb speaks it back. The stone shifts. The images fade, but not from forgetting, from fulfillment. You walk back through the passage. The walls are lighter now. Not glowing, resting. The entrance opens as you approach. The night air greets you. Cool, still. Stars blink above. One falls. Just one. You watch its trail vanish into the dark. You smile and step into the silence. You walk through the night like a whisper. No destination. No urgency. Only presence. The sand parts beneath your feet without resistance. Even the wind seems to step aside. The stars above move slowly now, as if matching your rhythm. You do not think of the village, or the tomb, or the figures in your dreams, not because they're forgotten, because they're inside you now. They no longer need remembering, only living. The ridge feels different tonight, softer, more open. The lines between here and elsewhere have thinned. You pause by the cluster of stones where the boy left the doll. It's still there, but weathered, its fabric faded, its face blurred. You kneel beside it, brush the dust from its eyes, and lay a small pebble beside it, smooth, flat, warm from your palm. A gesture, not of offering, of kinship. Above you the moon rises, pale, quiet. It bathes the land in soft silver, casting no shadows, only clarity. You stand and see them. Across the valley near the sealed tombs, faint figures gather. Not men, not gods, something in between. Not light, not darkness, but memory given shape. They do not move. They do not call. But you feel them, and they feel you. You walk toward them. Each step leaves no mark. The tombs come into view, stone mouths sealed with time, dust resting thick in every crevice. You do not flinch. You do not stop. You arrive at the largest one, the one first meant for the king who never died in time, the one you painted, the one you feared. You place your hand against the sealed entrance. It is cold, lifeless, but beneath that a heartbeat, not yours, not its own, the heartbeat of every hand that ever touched it, every eye that feared it, every silence that protected it. You close your eyes and listen to the nothing, to the everything. You do not ask to enter, you offer, and the stone listens. It does not open. It exhales, a long, soft breath of dust and age. And in that breath you see what the tomb could have been. Gold, lapis, sapphire skies painted across ceilings. You see your own work perfect and untouched. You see your hands at their youngest, your laughter echoing through the halls. You see the king, not cruel, not divine, but afraid. Afraid of being forgotten. Afraid of being too remembered. You see the workers, their dreams, their bones, their songs. You see Neba whole again. He smiles and fades. You lower your hand. The tomb returns to silence. You do not press further. You do not need to. You turn. The figures are closer now, encircling the tombs. Their faces still hidden, their forms fluid. But you feel no fear, only warmth, like being held by something older than the earth. They part as you walk through, each one nodding slightly, acknowledging, accepting. You return to the ridge, to the basin, to the place where your journey began. The chamber is as you left it, still, waiting. Inside the flame is back, not where it was, where it always is. Inside you, you kneel. Place both hands on the floor, whisper nothing. And everything, the chamber sighs. The murals shift. One final image appears. You seated, not alone. The boy at your side, Neba behind you, the supervisor, hands clasped. And the shadows no longer separate. They've become light, shaped like silence. The flame flickers once, then steadies. And you understand. You were never building for death. You were building for memory, not of gods, of people, of hands, of breath, of dust made sacred by touch. You rise, one last time, and step into the corridor. The walls dim, not from loss, from peace. At the entrance, dawn waits, its light slow and soft. You step into it, and vanish, not erased. Returned to the place you were always meant to be. Not in stone, not in pigment, but in the space between story and silence. They say the tombs never truly close, that even when stone seals their mouths and sand buries their names, they keep breathing, quietly, deep beneath the surface, waiting for someone who can listen. And you are now that someone, but not as you were. You no longer walk with feet alone. You move through silence, through time, through the breath that lingers after a prayer is spoken before it's forgotten. The village from above is a memory made of clay and firelight. You see it now not as home, but as story, one of many, a chapter tucked between the ribs of a long-forgotten song. And yet, pieces remain. The boy still draws. The supervisor still walks the edge of mourning. A child plays with stones and places them in circles, not knowing why. But you know why. You are the reason. Your presence no longer needs voice. It hums in the hills, in the wind that sighs against tomb walls, in the way pigment refuses to fade from sacred stone. You are memory given shape, and shape given release. Today you follow a different path, one you didn't know existed. It winds behind the cliffs past the last of the old acacia trees whose roots clutch the earth like ancient fingers. You find yourself standing at a narrow opening in the rock, hidden behind time, behind belief. You step inside, no hesitation, only rhythm. The passage is cool, smooth, curved like the inside of a shell. It spirals downward, not into darkness, but into quiet. You feel it in your bones. This place was not built. It was remembered. The end of the tunnel opens into a room unlike any you've seen. No murals, no altars, just walls of soft earth covered in handprints. Hundreds, thousands, all sizes, all directions, pressed into the clay while it was still wet, then left to dry in silence. You place your hand among them. The wall is warm. The print fits perfectly. And as your palm rests there, a single thought returns to you, simple, whole. You are not the first, and you will not be the last. This is a place of remembering those who remember. You sit, you breathe, you wait. Time shifts. You do not measure it. It measures you. The wall before you changes. A new handprint appears, smaller than yours, fresh, still glistening with moisture. Then another, and another. You do not see who leaves them. But you know, they have come. They have heard. They have felt the pull of silence calling through dust and dream. You smile, and for the first time you hum aloud. The melody is old, older than words. A simple rise and fall, like breath, like tide, like the wind brushing across stone at dusk. The walls vibrate gently, welcoming the song. You rise and walk the circle of the room. Your fingers brush the handprints like notes on a flute. Each one holds a story. A worker, a mother, a priest who doubted, a child who asked too many questions. Each one remembered now through the heat of touch. You return to the center, kneel, close your eyes, and listen. Not for the tomb, not for the gods, for the ones who never got to speak. They are loud, and they are ready. Their memories flood through you, not as visions, but as knowing. You become the woman who carved by moonlight, the man who painted with fingers when the brush broke, the child who placed one perfect red dot in the corner of the ceiling, where no one would look, but where the gods would always see. You breathe. They breathe with you, and the chamber exhales. A breeze, soft as thread, moves through the tunnel behind you. Not pushing, calling. You stand. You have given what you were meant to give. You have remembered what needed to be held. You step into the tunnel. It narrows, grows brighter. The light at its mouth pulses with the pale blue of early morning. As you emerge, the air is crisp. Clean. The sky above holds the last star before it fades. The valley lies below. The tomb still sealed. The village still asleep. But something is different. You can feel it. Something has shifted, not in stone, in memory. You are no longer walking ahead. You are walking beside. With every builder who carved a line, with every voice that sang into silence, with every name that never made it to the wall, and in that company, you are never alone. You begin to see things differently now, not in the way light shifts across a wall or how time smooths edges into softness, but in the way breath becomes wind, in the way footsteps become paths, in the way forgetting becomes remembrance. You no longer move through the world as a man who once carved tombs. You are not the worker, not the painter, not even the flame-bearer. You are the silence between all of them, and the silence watches. Each morning you wake not to a sun, but to an awareness of stones speaking underfoot, of leaves trembling with purpose, of walls breathing in rhythm with your chest. The valley is quiet now, not empty, not abandoned, still. Stillness is different than absence. Stillness listens. Stillness waits. Stillness remembers. Today you walk further than before. Beyond the ridges, beyond the places known even to the oldest maps burned into the backs of men's minds. The sky is wide here. The ground is coarse, scattered with shards of forgotten pottery, lost beads, fragments of rope. You kneel and sift through them like old prayers. You do not take, you do not label, you recognize. That is enough. You find a single blue bead, its color faint but intact. You place it in a small hollow in the rock and cover it with your palm. The earth accepts the offering. You rise and walk. Hours pass. Or seconds. It makes no difference. Time is thinner now, less a river, more a thread winding gently between thought and dust. Ahead you see a structure. No roof, no carvings, just 4 walls sunk into the desert like bones. You enter. Inside the sand is cooler, firmer. Your footsteps leave no trace. The walls are marked with hundreds of lines. Not words, not pictures. Just lines. Some long, some short, some thick, some barely etched. You touch one, it pulses. And suddenly you know. Each line is a name, not spoken. Not written, but remembered. A woman who mourned her husband by the river. A child who danced in shadows when no one was watching. A man who built tombs but never believed in the afterlife. All here, not for worship, for holding, for being. You sit, close your eyes, let your back rest against the wall. The lines hum behind you. They do not ask for anything. They simply let you be. You breathe. You hum. The same melody that came to you in the early days when your hands still trembled and your dreams still bled. The structure responds, not with sound, with warmth, like someone placing a hand on your shoulder from behind. You do not turn. You know who it is. Everyone and no one. All the ones who came before, and the ones still to come. They do not speak, but you hear them. You always have. You always will. You open your eyes. Step outside. The sky is changing now. Clouds roll low but not dark. They shimmer at the edges like old gold. The wind is gentle but firm, pressing against your chest like a reminder you are not finished. Not yet. You follow it, back across the plain, back through memory, back toward the tombs. But you do not return to your own, not yet. You stop at the sealed tomb, the one the villagers feared, the one whose eyes once followed you from the wall. You place your hand on the stone. No demand, no plea, just touch. The stone sighs. A fine line appears, a crack. Not enough to enter, just enough to breathe. Dust escapes, with it a memory, your first day inside. Your brush trembling in your fingers, the pigment refusing to hold. You smile. Not at the fear, at the beginning. You step back. The crack seals. The tomb sleeps again, but now it dreams, because you do. You walk to the ridge. The boy is waiting. He does not speak. He hands you a piece of cloth. Soft, old. On it a new drawing. You, walking into water. Your hands raised. Your eyes open. No flames. No gods. Just stars. Falling like petals around you. You nod. He nods. He runs. You fold the cloth and place it inside your tunic. Tonight you will return to the chamber. Not to kneel. Not to speak. To listen. To feel. To dissolve. Because sometimes the most sacred thing a person can do is simply become part of the stillness that holds everyone else together. And you are ready. That evening you do not walk with your legs. You let the earth carry you. The dust knows your shape, now knows the rhythm of your breathing. The stones shift gently under your weight, not to resist but to guide. You follow no path, but arrive exactly where you were meant to be. The basin, the flame, the breath. It's all waiting not as objects but as parts of yourself. You enter the chamber quietly. There is no need to announce yourself. It already knows you. The air inside has changed. It is thicker, not heavy, dense with memory. Not memory as thoughts, memory as warmth, like the lingering heat of a hand that once held yours. You step into the center. The flame is not in the basin anymore. It is floating, just above it, suspended like dew on a spider's thread. It pulses gently as if inhaling. You raise your hand, and it comes to rest in your palm. No burn, no weight, only light. You sit cross-legged and hold it before you. Inside, the flame shapes form. Faces, scenes. You see the other workers, all the ones whose names were never carved. They are laughing, sweating, singing as they drag stone. Their joy is not loud but full. Their pain is not erased but understood. You see your father, younger than you ever knew him. His eyes wide as he steps into a tomb for the first time. His hands reverent, his silence deeper than yours. You see the first tomb ever built. Not grand, not royal. A simple cave, painted with ash and blood. A resting place for someone who loved well and died early. The flame flickers and shows you yourself. Not just now, not just then, all of you. The child dreaming of gods, the apprentice doubting his lines, the man who touched stone and felt it breathe. The silence, the fear, the love, all of it burning steady inside the flame. You lower your hand. Let the flame rest between your knees. It hovers there, a soft orb of knowing. You close your eyes and listen to the deepest part of the tomb, not the chamber, the space beneath, where names go when they are finally believed. You hear voices, not calling, not warning, just being. They speak in waves of heat and dust and breath. They say, "We remember you." And you say, "I remember you." And the echo is perfect. You open your eyes. The flame has changed color. It is now the color of old parchment, of desert wind, of everything that fades and yet stays. You stand. The chamber breathes with you. Not behind you, with you. You step into the corridor. It curves, but you know it. You know every inch now, not from walking, but from becoming it. At the threshold, the sky waits. It is dark now, but not empty. The stars are closer. You see patterns you never noticed before. Lines connecting not constellations, but memories. You step into the night. The valley is quiet, but the quiet feels full. You descend slowly, each step a blessing, each footfall an offering. When you reach the base of the cliffs, you turn and place your hand on the rock one last time. Not to ask, to thank. It accepts. You walk through the edge of the village. No doors open, no eyes peer, but you feel them. Behind walls, behind sleep, listening, breathing, remembering. At your home, the door has fallen in. The mat is gone, but the walls are warm. You trace your fingers along the stone where once you painted. The color is faded, but the meaning is sharp. You sit, and the flame returns to your palm. It does not wait anymore. It does not flicker. It shines, steady, whole. You place it on the floor, and for the first time in a long time, you speak aloud. A word, not in your language, not in any language. A word made of dust breath, pigment, and prayer. A word that says, "I am yours and you are mine." And the walls reply, not in echo, in embrace. The air warms. The ground hums. Your chest stills, not because life ends, because it completes. You lie down. The stars above you are no longer high. They are inside. And you sleep, not to forget, to become. You do not wake as others do. You return, like mist returning to the river, like sound returning to the chamber after silence. Your eyes do not open. They are already open. Your hands do not move. They are already moving. You are beneath the earth and above it. You are in the dust and beyond it. You feel yourself resting within stone like pigment in a brush not yet lifted. The world around you is quiet, not from absence, but from reverence. It knows you now. It carries you. You are the thought before a hand carves a line, the breath before a chant is sung, the pause before memory becomes legend. You rise not with limbs but with presence. Outside, the village stirs, but you are not outside. You are within. The basin still glows faintly in the chamber. The flame has dimmed, not because it is dying, because it no longer needs to burn. It has entered everything. You feel it in the rocks along the path, in the hollowed bones of old tools, in the places your name once was, now erased and yet more permanent than ever. This morning the wind shifts from the south, carrying heat and something else. Singing. You hear it first from the hills, then closer. Voices. Low, soft, one voice, then another, then many, not trained, not loud, but certain. You walk toward them. You see them cresting the hill. A procession, not like the old ones with incense and robes and masks. This is different. Barefoot, sun-kissed, eyes wide, carrying not scrolls or gold, but stones. Each holds a stone in their hands. Simple, worn smooth by time or water or hope. They do not speak. They walk. To the cliffs, to the tombs, to you. You stand beside the sealed mouth of the king's tomb. The one that once frightened you. The one that once moved. Now it rests. The first in the line arrives. A woman older than the hills. Her hands are cracked from years of harvest, her back curved, her eyes deep. She kneels, places her stone at the base of the tomb, then presses her forehead to the earth. Behind her, a child, barely old enough to walk. He places his stone gently, then clutches her shawl. More come. A man with a wrapped arm. A girl with eyes full of storms. A boy who hums your melody without knowing how he knows it. One by one the stones are laid. A ring of offerings. Not to keep something out. To honor what is within. You watch, and they see you. Some with eyes, some with feeling. No one speaks your name, but everyone speaks you. Through breath, through placement, through stillness. You walk among them, not above. With your feet stir no dust. Your presence carries no shadow, but they feel you. A child turns, looks right at you, smiles. You kneel before him. Hold out your hand. He places his stone in your palm. It is warm, heavy with meaning. You close your fingers around it, and he runs. His laughter echoes like wind through reeds. You turn back to the tomb, and place his stone at its center. The others bow their heads. The wind pauses, then begins again, carrying the scent of sand sweat and something new. The people slowly return to the village, not hurried, not afraid, changed. You remain, alone, but full. You sit beside the tomb, your back to the stone, your eyes on the sky. The stars begin to blink awake. The sky deepens into ink. A breeze brushes your cheek like a goodbye, or a welcome, and in that quiet you hear a voice. Yours, from long ago, or perhaps from now. It whispers, "This is not the end," and you believe it, because now, you know how stories last, not by being remembered, by being lived. You stay at the base of the tomb long after the last footsteps have faded. The night settles around you like a thick cloth. Not cold, not warm, just present. The stars blink slowly above, not distant, but near, like old friends sitting silently beside you. You run your fingers along the stone, not to test it, to thank it. The rock hums softly beneath your skin. It remembers you, and it forgives you, for all the times you didn't listen, for all the times you did. You lie down on the earth. The soil gives under your weight like breath drawn inward. Above you, the ridge looms familiar now, like the inside of your own ribs. Your eyes close, but you do not sleep. You shift into something deeper, somewhere between thought and surrender, and there, the visions come again. Not as dreams, not imagined. They are returns. You are back in the tomb. Not the hidden one, the first one, where you carved your first line, where your fingers bled and your voice shook as you whispered apologies to painted gods. You see the brush trembling in your hand. You see the god's eyes watching. Not cruel, not kind, just open, waiting. You reach out in the vision and your fingers press to your own chest. The wall becomes your skin, the pigment your blood, and suddenly every stroke you've ever made lives inside you. Every god, every name, every moment of silence. You exhale, and the tomb exhales with you. When you open your eyes again, the world has shifted. Not the sky, not the land. You feel lighter, as if you've been poured out and filled again with something older. You sit. Dawn is rising. It spills gold across the valley floor in long, slow waves. The tomb's surface gleams briefly like a mirror catching the first flame. You rise to your feet. Your shadow stretches behind you, long and thin, pointing toward the cliffs where your journey began. You walk. Each step forward feels like a circle closing, like a line completing its loop. You reach the ridge just as the sun crests. Its light is soft. It does not blind. It blesses. From this height you see everything. The tombs, the scattered houses, the basin below, the winding paths that twist between memory and forgetting. And the people, they are waking now, moving slowly through the morning like thoughts through a half-remembered dream. One by one they look toward the cliffs, toward you. You do not wave, you do not bow, you stand, and you witness, because that is your task now. Not to carve, not to paint, to witness, to be the stillness into which all stories echo, to be the space where breath becomes prayer. You sit beneath the old fig tree. Its limbs stretch wide, leafless but alive. You place your hand on its bark, and feel a heartbeat. Yours, the earth's, the tomb's. There is no difference now. A small girl appears beside you. She does not speak. She sits. Her hands are stained with red. Pigment, not blood. She shows you her fingers. You nod. She smiles. She begins to draw in the dust. Not shapes, not gods. Lines, swirling, looping, growing from each other like vines. You do not correct her. You let her create, because now you understand. Creation is not control. It is permission. The tree above you drops a single dry leaf. It lands between you and the girl. She picks it up, presses it to her chest, and vanishes, not in a blink, in a breath, as if she had always been wind. You remain. You close your eyes, and hum. The melody is new, but it carries the shape of the old. It rises gently into the morning light. It curls around stones and stories. It soothes the cracks in memory, and far below in the sealed tombs the gods smile, not because they were honored, because they were remembered, for a moment, by someone like you. You remain at the edge of the cliff until the sun climbs high enough to turn the stones white. Not hot, sacred. The light today feels different. less like fire, more like a hand. It rests on your shoulders, on your back, on the crown of your head. You do not move to shake it. You welcome it, because you are no longer one thing. You are the ridge and the roots. You are the pigment and the breath. You are the tomb and the trembling hands that painted it. You rise one last time and begin your descent. It is not a farewell. It is a return. The valley waits for you without expectation, without need. It already holds you in all its places. You pass the stone basin where the flame once lived. The basin is dry now, but you feel warmth as you pass. The memory of fire, the memory of becoming. Further down, the girl's drawing still curls across the dust, faded by the wind, but not erased. You step over it, careful, like crossing a bridge made of breath. The tombs no longer frighten you. They no longer whisper. They rest, and in their rest they teach. You stop before the sealed one, the one they feared. You lay your hand on the stone. Again, for the last time, you lean your forehead against it. The rock is warm. Behind it you feel not death, but listening, a deep listening, the kind that comes from centuries of silence. You do not speak, but a word rises in you anyway. A word without shape, without sound, made of touch and stillness. You let it move through you, and the tomb hears it. You step back and bow to the stone, to the workers, to yourself. A wind moves across the sand, carrying dust and old prayers and the laughter of someone you once were. You follow it, back to the village. The houses are open now, doors wide. Children run barefoot through alleys. The woman who once feared your eyes nods to you as she stirs lentils. The boy sits beside the well, drawing in the dirt with a stick. He is humming your tune. The people no longer look away. They look through you, and in that looking they see themselves. You pass your house, or what remains. No roof, no mat, only walls, and even those now seem softer, less like barriers, more like memories. You trace your fingers across them one last time. Your name does not need to be carved here. It is already in their breath. You walk to the center of the village, where the dust is softest, where feet gather without being told. The people follow, one by one. No words, just presence. They sit around you, old, young, tired, curious, grieving, remembering. You sit among them, not above. The boy lays a stone at your feet. Others follow, a necklace, a dried flower, a broken tool, a piece of red thread, a bundle of silence. You accept them all. You hum, just once, and the sound is caught by the wind, lifted, carried. It echoes against the cliffs, and the tombs answer, not with opening, not with voice, but with light, a faint shimmer, a glow along the sealed edges, as if the walls are exhaling, letting go, not of what they held, of what they no longer need to protect. The villagers remain in the circle, eyes closed, heads tilted. Some cry, some smile, most simply breathe. You feel your chest rise and fall. One more time, you feel the dust settle on your skin, the warmth of light in your chest, the last echo of the tomb in your bones, and you let go. You do not disappear. You expand into the breath of the boy, into the fingers of the girl, into the stone beneath each home, into the silence between two heartbeats. You are not gone. You are remembered, not as a name, but as a knowing, not as a story, but as a presence. And that is enough. That is everything.